بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Hi, I'm Autit and welcome back to Act and React. Today's video that we are going to react on is called How the Universe is Going to End. Qur'an confirms Higgs boson. There is no clash. This is the 8th video in the series and we are continuing it again today. And this video has over 900,000 views. So I think everyone is really interested in how the universe is going to end, although I don't think it's going to end within the next 100 years, so that doesn't affect me altogether. In Quran, I think there is a surah called At-Takwir, which gives a detailed description about how the world's gonna end. That there will be the sun will be near on that day. The sea will be on fire. The mountains will be like combed wool or like brushed wool, so very thin, like something coming out from the fabric, woolen fabric, as you can see. So without delaying anymore, let's just see Higgs boson. I haven't heard the term, I think, before. So let's see what's it got to do with that description in the Quran.
Hi. On September the 7th, 2014, in an article in the Daily Mail, the famous physicist Professor Stephen Hawking warned that according to his calculations, the planet we're living in is unstable and therefore might collapse. This news, unsurprisingly, sent the media world into a buzz. Dr. Joseph Licken, a theoretical physicist at the
Obviously, it's
University
gonna
of
do that.
Chicago, confirmed
It'll
Professor
have
Hawking's
that kind of
findings
effect.
when he said, if you use all the physics that we know now and you do what you think is a straightforward calculation, it is bad news, and it may be that the universe we live in is inherently unstable. We're sort of right on the edge where the universe can last for a long time, but eventually it should go boom. There's no principle that we know of that would put us right on the edge. Dr. Benjamin Alanacht, a theoretical physicist at the University of Cambridge, further elaborates on the reason for this instability when he talks about a particular particle that exists in the universe called the Higgs boson particle. The observed 126
So
giga-electron volts
it's
Higgs boson mass
like
seems to
that
imply the
matter and
universe does
non-matter
not
thing
exist in the lowest possible
with
energy
charge
state, but is in
126
fact
giga
positioned
electron
in a
volts.
slightly unusual
So
place.
it's a charged
If the
particle.
Higgs boson mass were really 127 giga-electron volts and the top mass were a little lower than its most likely value, then actually the universe would be completely stable and the vacuum would be in the true minimum. Meaning that under the simplest assumptions, the measured
See,
mass of Higgs could mean that the
okay, I'm
universe is
gonna
unstable
complain
and
on that
destined to fall
later.
apart. So basically, according to numerous physicists, careful calculations and computations, we're all doomed. The Qur'an, which dates back 1400 years ago, substantiates the predictions and calculations of physicists such as Hawking, Licken and Alanacht. The potential of the universe collapsing and being wiped out is real. The creator of the universe is well aware of what he created. But it's not all bad news. The Quran then goes on to assure us that God prevents the universe from collapse. When he writes in the Quran, God holds the heaven from falling on the earth.
Holds
Furthermore,
down the
the Quran
heaven from
states that
earth
God
on the
prevents the
earth.
universe from being
Falling
wiped
on the
out.
earth, chapter
God holds the
22,
heavens
that's
and the
Surah
earth
Al-Hajj.
lest they are wiped out. So what will the end of the world look like exactly, and what part do the Higgs boson particles play in all this? In 1960, the British scientist Peter Higgs predicted the existence of tiny particles that we cannot see, but that are, in fact, in us and all around us. These particles are responsible for giving objects their mass and explain why particles have the mass that they do. Without Higgs boson, you and I and everything we see around us would have no mass and therefore would not be able to exist. The other physicists at that time also agreed with Mr. Higgs that this particle exists, as he had sound calculations to prove his theory, and they called these subatomic particles Higgs particles, after Peter Higgs. On March the 14th, 2013, about half a century after it was first predicted, scientists at CERN, the European Organisation for Nuclear Research, tentatively confirmed they have found the Higgs boson particle, and the Nobel Prize in Physics was subsequently awarded jointly to Peter Higgs and his colleague François Englert. In order to discover the subatomic Higgs particle, CERN had built a large hadron collider at the cost of about $10 billion to simulate the conditions of the formation of the universe. In 1993, a group of British physicists went to the UK Science Minister at the time, William Waldegrave, to ask if he could help fund the building of the Large Hadron Collider in order to help prove the existence
Lots
of
of
the Higgs
names are
particle.
being dropped here.
Having no clue what they were talking about, Mr. Waldegrave announced he would award a vintage bottle of champagne to the physicist who came up with the best way to explain the Higgs field and the Higgs boson to the general public. And it was Professor David Miller who took home the prize with his famous analogy. Imagine a cocktail party of political party workers who are uniformly distributed across the floor, all talking to their nearest neighbours. If the ex-Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher enters the room, many of the workers will run toward her and form a cluster
It is the
around
only
her.
name I'm
As she moves, other workers run toward her,
familiar
while the
with
ones
is
she has left return to their
Miss
places.
Margaret Thatcher,
Because of the knot of people running toward her
who
forming
was
a
the Prime
cluster
Minister of
and then
UK
returning back to
at
their
some
spots,
point.
she acquires mass. These clusters, which run towards Mrs. Thatcher and then disappear as they return back to their spots, are an
I
analogy
think she
to
was
Higgs
the
bosons.
longest
So
female
if that's the Higgs
Prime
field,
Minister
how does the Higgs boson
of
fit
that
into all
time.
of this? Let's pretend our crowd of partygoers is uniformly spread across the room. Now consider a rumour passing through our room full of people. Those near the door run to hear it first and cluster together to get the details. Then they return to their original spots and tell their neighbours, who then run and cluster together to hear it too. Then they return to their original spots and tell their next neighbours, and so on. The result will be a wave of clusters running across the room that disappear as soon as they run. These clusters are an analogy to Higgs bosons. So to summarise, Higgs boson is an elusive
So they are
subatomic
coming and
particle
sharing the
that we
rumor
can't
and
see,
spreading it.
but can see how it
That's
gives
all.
particles substance or mass. It's essentially what gives shape, size and mass to everything that exists. But the problem is that the Higgs particle that the LHC had found possesses a mass of approximately 126 giga-electron volts. And this has made physicists rather nervous because they believe it should be 127. According to physicists such as Stephen Hawking, Joseph Litton and Benjamin Allenach, this discrepancy could very well mean the collapse of the universe and everything in it, including you and I, as everything will become massless, and they are not alone in their assertions. In fact, the Qur'an also swears that this will take place when the world ends, when it says, "It is the day when people will be like scattered moths, and the mountains shall be as loosened wool." People like moths and mountains like wool sounds like mass loss to me. But there's something else too. In chapter 81 of the Qur'an, a chapter where God describes in detail the events of the end of the world, there are two particular verses that are of great interest to us.
After 100 I
just learned. So
don't
verily
have clear
I,
idea.
God, swear by clusters you can't see, as soon as they run,
This
they
one
disappear.
I was talking about.
That's the
Chapter 81.
English translation, but the words used in the original Arabic
التقدير.
are more nuanced than a translation can express. Three words in particular that are used in this verse are khunes and al-jawari al-kunes. Khunes refers to something invisible, and al-jawari means something that is running. Al-kunes refers to something that disappears and returns back to its original spot. So if you put the three words together, we're talking about invisible clusters that run and that disappear almost as soon as they appear. Almost as soon as they start running, they stop and disappear. So what are these clusters that the Quran is describing? They're none other than the infamous and elusive Higgs boson particles, which explains why the end of the universe will come about not due to volcanic activity, meteor showers, or an asteroid hitting the Earth, as NASA claims. The universe will end due to mass loss.
Okay, so that was today's video. There were lots of terms like the Higgs particle with Higgs charged particles, and that the universe will end due to mass loss. And how this mass loss is going to happen, there are quite controversies over them. Some say the mass loss will happen due to sun losing all its glow and dying out, and also that there will be instability somewhere in the galaxy, and the black holes will uh, uh, gobble us all. My point is that people often say, mostly the scientists and the people with very high degrees and knowledges and knowledge that there is no God, and they appear as atheists. So right here in Higgs particles, we can see that those scientists are saying that if it was 127 electron volts, giga electron volts, the universe would be completely stable and it would go on forever. But we can see that it's 126 giga electron volts. So the universe is not here due to chances. It's definitely a plan, and there is definitely a creator, however you want to call him. But there is a God, in my point of view. Allahu Akbar. And also the universe is expanding, as we learned in previous videos. So there is also a theory about the big crunch, that however the universe is expanding, it will ripple, and sometime in future it will all come back to that singularity. And if you are a Muslim, you can say that this will be the judgment day, and in our faith we are told that on that day it will be a terrible sight, and after that every creation that has ever came into being will be on a playing field, to have their accounts, and on that day good will prevail, your good deeds will prevail. But it is also said that you cannot attain paradise with only your deeds. It will have to be the divine mercy from the Creator. I don't know where was I think this video I'm going to be in favor of, as the previous one I was a little bit doubtful, but this one I can say okay, this has some merit to it. And Higgs boson, like that matter antimatter particles, maybe they are out there, I don't know. But again, about superimposing these scientific theories on Quran may have its backlash in 50 years, 100 years from now on, when more advanced theories may come up. So I think if you're not 100% sure, believing that this scientific theory is 100% referred to the same in the Quran is not correct. Because then someone will come and say in 50 years, 100 years, that okay, so this verse were referred to this theory, and this theory is proven wrong, so what it means, the Quran is wrong. I don't think so. But I'm doing this series to verify and learn about this sort of phenomenons, and I think there are a few more in this series, so I will cover them all, inshallah. So without wasting any of your time, let's say goodbye for today here. Thank you everyone, and if you do like the video, drop a like and subscribe, as the new channel is new. It really motivates to do more stuff like that. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan.